The message came without warning. All screens across Earth flickered and changed to show the same image. A tall alien with pale blue skin and 4 eyes looked down at the humans. His voice was cold and clear. "People of Earth, I am Emperor Zornfall of the Galactic Hegemony. Your planet now belongs to us. You have 7 hours to surrender. If you refuse, we will destroy your world." In the main room of the United Earth Defense Council, 12 men and women sat in silence. They watched as the alien emperor's face disappeared from the large screen in front of them. General Paul Miller was the first to speak. "They have 5,000 ships. We have 500. We cannot win this fight." "Maybe we should surrender," said Counselor Nancy Winters, "to save lives." Admiral Catherine Winters, known to her friends as Cat and to her enemies as Baba Yaga, stood quietly in the corner. She was tall with gray hair cut short. Deep lines marked her face, each one earned through years of protecting human space. "Admiral Winters, what do you think?" asked President Daniel Garcia. Cat stepped forward. Her eyes were sharp and clear. "The hegemony does not keep its promises. If we surrender, they will still kill most of us and enslave the rest. So we fight and die anyway," said General Miller with a bitter laugh. "No," said Cat. "We win." The room fell silent again. Everyone knew Cat's history. 3 times before, alien forces had threatened human colonies. 3 times, Cat had stopped them when no one thought it was possible. That was how she got her nickname. Baba Yaga, the witch from old stories who lived in a house with chicken legs and ate those who crossed her. The aliens feared her more than they feared all of Earth's weapons. "How?" asked the president. "Tell us your plan." "I need the Nightshade," said Cat, naming her special stealth ship. "And my team. Give me command authority to act on Earth's behalf." General Miller shook his head. "The Nightshade is just 1 ship. It cannot fight 5,000. "I don't need to fight 5,000 ships," said Cat. Her voice was calm. "I just need to kill 1 emperor." "That's crazy," said Counselor Winters. "You can't reach him. His ship will be in the middle of their fleet, protected by layers of defense." Cat's smile was small and cold. "I need 7 minutes with him. That's all." 7 minutes. President Garcia looked confused. "They gave us 7 hours to surrender." "7 hours is too long," said Cat. "In 7 hours, they will move more ships into position. They will prepare for our response. I need to act now, while they think we are still talking and afraid." The council members looked at each other. They knew what Cat was asking. Special command authority would let her act without their approval. It was rarely given. "This is our best chance," said Cat. "Perhaps our only chance." President Garcia nodded slowly. "Do what you must, Admiral. You have your authority." Cat turned and walked out of the room. She tapped her wrist communicator. "Ford, prepare the Nightshade for immediate launch. Tell Ortiz, Clark, Reyes, and Hayes to be ready in 15 minutes. "Yes, Admiral," came the response. "May I ask where we're going?" "To kill an emperor," said Cat. She entered the elevator and pressed the button for the hangar level. As the doors closed, she looked at her watch. "And we're going to do it in 7 minutes." In the dark hangar below the council building, a ship unlike any other waited, black as space itself, with strange angles that hurt the eyes if you looked too long. The Nightshade was Cat's own design, built using physics that most humans didn't understand. It was time to remind the galaxy why they called her Baba Yaga. The Nightshade's crew waited inside the ship. They stood as Cat entered the main control room. "We have our orders," she said simply. "The hegemony has given Earth 7 hours to surrender. We're going to kill their emperor in 7 minutes." No one looked surprised. They had all worked with Cat before. They knew what she could do. Lieutenant Alan Ford sat at the pilot's chair. He was young with quick hands and quicker eyes. No one could fly like Ford. "Course already plotted, Admiral. We can leave whenever you give the word." Major Samantha Ortiz checked her weapons. She was strong and quiet, with dark eyes that missed nothing. Security teams have cleared the hangar. No one will see us leave. Good, said Kat. She turned to Dr. William Clark, a thin man with tired eyes and 3 advanced degrees in alien biology. Tell me about the Emperor. Clark brought up an image on his screen. Zornfall is from the Nexari species. 4 eyes, blue skin, stands about 7 feet tall. Their bodies are tough, but they have weak spots here and here. He pointed to places on the alien's neck and lower back. They also can't see well in bright light. Useful, said Kat. She looked at Specialist Olivia Reyes, whose fingers never stopped moving across her computer. What about their systems? Their ships use a different computer language than ours, said Reyes, pushing her glasses up. But I've been studying it since our last encounter. I can get us through their basic security, but the Emperor's personal guards will have better protection. Commander Peter Hayes was the last to speak. He stood by a wall of weapons, each one made for a specific purpose. I've prepared everything you asked for, Admiral. The light flash grenades for Nexari eyes, the phase blades for their armor. And this. He held up a small black device. The quantum lock. It will freeze anyone in the room except the person holding it, but only for 30 seconds. Kat nodded. We'll only need 10. She walked to the center of the room where a hologram showed the hegemony fleet. Thousands of ships surrounded one massive vessel at the center. That's our target, she said, pointing to the central ship. The Emperor will be here, in the command center. The hologram zoomed in to show a large room near the top of the ship. We'll use the phase shift to enter directly. The phase shift was Kat's secret weapon. Before she joined the military, Kat had been a physics professor. She had discovered how to move matter between dimensions, allowing solid objects to pass through each other. The Nightshade was built around this technology. The shift will get us inside, said Kat, but we can only hold it for 10 minutes before the ship's systems fail. That gives us 7 minutes for the mission, 1 minute to get in, and 2 minutes to get out. What if we need more time? Asked Ford. Then we die, said Kat simply. But we won't need more time. Major Ortiz stepped forward. The crew is ready, Admiral. But I have to ask, why you? The Council could send 100 ships. Why risk yourself? Kat was quiet for a moment. The others waited. They all knew parts of her story, but never the whole thing. 8 years ago, I had a husband named John and a daughter named Lucy, Kat finally said. They lived on the colony world of New Hope. The hegemony attacked without warning. John and Lucy died along with 10,000 others. The room was silent. I learned something that day, Kat continued. I learned that the universe is not fair or kind. I learned that some enemies cannot be reasoned with. And I learned that sometimes, to protect what matters, you must become what others fear. She looked at each member of her crew. That's why they call me Baba Yaga, because I hunt those who hunt us, because I make the monsters afraid. Kat turned back to the hologram. Prepare for launch. We have an emperor to kill. The Nightshade rose silently from its hangar and slipped into the night sky, invisible to all watching eyes. The hunt had begun. The Nightshade moved through space like a shadow. No radar could see it. No sensor could detect it. The small black ship passed between the massive warships of the hegemony fleet without being noticed. Their ships are everywhere, said Ford as he guided the Nightshade carefully forward. I count over 5,000 combat vessels. Kat stood behind him, watching the enemy fleet through the main viewport. They'd brought enough ships to destroy Earth 10 times over. They're afraid of us, said Major Ortiz. They wouldn't bring so many ships if they weren't. Rise looked up from her screen. I'm picking up their communications. They're talking about Baba Yaga. They know you're here, Admiral. They just don't know where. Kat smiled slightly. Good. Fear makes them careless. As they approached the center of the fleet, the Emperor's flagship came into view. It was enormous, nearly 20 miles long, shaped like a giant spear. "Look at the size of that thing," whispered Ford. "How are we supposed to find one alien in that?" "We know exactly where he is," said Kat. She pointed to a glowing section near the top of the ship. "That's the Emperor's personal chamber." Dr. Clark confirmed it from the architecture. Clark nodded. "Nexari emperors always place themselves at the highest point. It's part of their culture." "Can we get through their shields?" asked Hayes, checking his weapons one last time. "We don't need to," said Kat. "The phase shift will take us directly inside." She turned to address the crew. "Remember the plan. Ford stays with the ship. The rest of us go in together. Reyes handles any technology. Clark guides us through alien territory. Hayes and Ortiz deal with guards. I take the Emperor." "What if there are too many guards?" asked Ortiz. "There won't be," said Kat. "Not for long." The nightshade slipped into position above the Emperor's chamber. They could see through the hull of the ship now, into a large room with tall windows showing the stars. The Emperor sat on a floating throne, surrounded by 12 guards with weapons. "Final equipment check," said Kat. She put on a black suit that would protect her during the phase shift. The others did the same. "Phase shift in 30 seconds, said Ford from the pilot's seat. "Good luck." Hayes handed out the weapons. "Remember, the light grenades first. Then we move fast." 7 minutes, Kat reminded them. "Not a second more." Reyes looked nervous. "I've never killed anyone before." Kat put a hand on her shoulder. "You're not here to kill. You're here to keep us alive." "Phase shift beginning," called Ford. 5 seconds. The ship began to vibrate. The walls became transparent, then started to glow with blue light. 3, 2, 1. The world turned inside out. For a moment, they existed between dimensions, in a place of blue fog and strange whispers. Then reality snapped back into focus, and they were inside the Emperor's chamber. The guards didn't notice them at first. The phase shift had placed them in a corner of the large room, behind a strange sculpture. "Now," whispered Kat. Hayes threw the first light grenade. It exploded with the brightness of a small sun. The Nexari guards screamed, their 4 eyes blinded by the flash. Ortiz moved like lightning. 2 guards fell before they could raise their weapons. Hayes took down 3 more with precise shots from his phase pistol. Reyes ran to a control panel and connected her computer, working on the security systems now. Clark stayed close to her, watching for danger. 4 more guards coming from the left hallway. Kat walked straight toward the Emperor. Zornfall was standing now, his upper eyes still blinded, but his lower eyes starting to focus. He reached for a weapon at his side. "Human," he hissed. "How did you get in here?" "I made a promise a long time ago," said Kat, "to find those who hurt us and make them pay." The Emperor fired his weapon. The blast passed through Kat's body without harming her. She was still partly in phase shift. "What are you?" asked the Emperor, fear in his voice. "I am Baba Yaga," said Kat, "and I keep my promises." The Emperor's remaining guards rushed forward. Ortiz and Hayes moved to intercept them, their weapons flashing in the dimly lit chamber. 2 minutes gone, called Reyes from the control panel. 5 minutes left. Kat circled the Emperor, who had drawn a long curved blade. His blue skin shimmered with fierce sweat. "Your species is young," said Zornthal. "You know nothing of the galaxy, nothing of power. Submit, and some of you may live as our servants." "We know enough," said Kat. She drew no weapon. "We know that the hegemony is built on lies. You aren't an emperor by right. You took power by killing your way to the top." Zornfal's 4 eyes widened slightly. "How could you know this?" "We study our enemies," said Kat, "just as you should have studied us." In the corner, Dr. Clark was examining a strange device on the wall. "Admiral, I think this is their communication system. If we can access it, we can send a message to the entire fleet." "Do it," said Kat without looking away from the Emperor. Zornfall lunged forward, his blade slicing through the air. Kat stepped aside easily. She remained partly phase-shifted, her body not fully solid. "You cannot touch me," she said, "but I can touch you." To prove her point, she reached out and touched the Emperor's face. Her hand solidified just enough to make contact. Zornful gasped and stepped back. 3 minutes gone, called Reyes. "Half our time is up." Across the room, Ortiz and Hayes had finished with the guards. 12 alien bodies lay on the floor. Hayes had a cut on his arm, but seemed otherwise unhurt. "Security systems are down," said Reyes. "I've locked the doors. No one can get in for at least 5 minutes." "Perfect," said Kat. She turned back to the Emperor. "Do you know why they call me Baba Yaga?" Zornful backed away until he hit his throne. "It is a human monster, a witch who eats children." "Close," said Kat. "She punishes those who harm the innocent. She is justice when justice seems impossible." She reached into her pocket and pulled out the small black device Hayes had given her earlier. "The quantum lock." "Your people killed my family," said Kat. "They killed thousands of humans who had done nothing wrong. Did you think we would forget? Did you think we would not come for you?" "The other species surrendered," said Zornfall. His voice was shaking now. "Why can't humans learn their place?" "That's the difference between us and the others," said Kat. "We don't believe in knowing our place. We believe in making our own way." She activated the quantum lock. Blue energy spread across the room, freezing everyone in place except Kat. Even her own team was frozen, caught in mid-motion. Only 30 seconds until it wore off. 4 minutes gone, said Kat, counting to herself. 3 minutes left. She walked up to the Emperor. His eyes could still move, watching her with terror as she approached. "I want you to understand something before you die," said Kat. "This isn't revenge. This is prevention. You threatened my world. You would have killed billions. I am simply stopping you." From a hidden pocket, she drew a thin blade made of the same material as the Nightshade's hull. "It could cut through anything. The hegemony will fall apart without you," she said. "All those species you conquered will have a chance at freedom. Some will fight. Some will build new alliances. That's their choice." The quantum lock was wearing off. She had only seconds left. "My team has sent proof of your crimes to every ship in your fleet," said Kat. "They know you killed the previous Emperor. They know you've been stealing resources meant for their worlds." Kat looked into the Emperor's 4 eyes. "Remember in your next life, never threaten Earth." The blade moved once, quick and clean. Emperor Zornful fell to the floor. The quantum lock faded. The room unfroze. 5 minutes gone, called Reyes. 2 minutes to get out. Kat nodded. "Mission complete. Let's go home." The team moved quickly. There was no time to waste. "The phase shift is ready," said Reyes, fingers flying over her portable computer. "We have 90 seconds before the ship's alarms will detect the Emperor's death." Kat nodded. "Hayes, bring the Emperor's communication device. We'll need proof for Earth." Hayes grabbed a small golden object from the dead Emperor's belt. It glowed with strange symbols. Ortiz checked the doors. Movement in the hallway. Guards are trying to get in. "They're too late," said Kat. She tapped her wrist communicator. "Ford, bring the Nightshade to our position. We're ready for extraction." "On my way, Admiral," came Ford's voice. 30 seconds. Dr. Clark was examining the room quickly, taking pictures with a small device. "The necessary technology here is beyond anything we've seen. If we had more time, I could learn so much." "No time," said Kat. 6 minutes gone. "We have 1 minute to get out before the phase shift fails." The walls began to shimmer as the Nightshade approached from outside. The ship was still in phase shift mode, able to pass through solid matter. They could see its dark shape coming through the wall of the Emperor's chamber. "Get ready," said Kat. A loud bang came from the doors. The guards outside were using heavy weapons now. "They know something's wrong," said Ortiz, raising her weapon. The door began to glow red from the heat of the weapons being used against it. It wouldn't hold much longer. 50 seconds left, said Rice, her voice tight with worry. The Nightshade's hull appeared through the wall, moving slowly into the room. Ford was careful not to materialize the ship inside any solid objects, which would destroy both. Everyone move to the ship, ordered Kat. Quick and quiet. One by one, they stepped through the Nightshade's partly transparent hull. It felt like walking through thick fog. Hayes went first, then Clark and Reyes. Ortiz waited with Kat. "Admiral, we need to go," said Ortiz as the door began to melt. "Not yet," said Kat. She walked to the Emperor's body and placed a small object on his chest. It looked like a metal star. "What's that?" asked Ortiz. "A message," said Kat. "For the next Emperor." The door exploded inward. Alien guards poured into the room, weapons ready. They saw the Emperor's body and stopped in shock. Then they saw Kat and Ortiz standing beside the partly visible Nightshade. "Fire!" yelled the guard leader. Energy blasts flew across the room. They passed harmlessly through Kat and Ortiz, who were still protected by the phase shift. "Time to go," said Kat calmly. They stepped into the Nightshade. As soon as they were inside, Ford activated the engines. 7 minutes, said Kat, just as planned. The Nightshade pulled back through the wall, leaving the Emperor's chamber behind. The guards fired uselessly at the strange ship that their weapons couldn't touch. In space, the hegemony fleet was in chaos. Ships were moving in all directions. Some were firing at each other. "What's happening?" asked Hayes, looking at the view screen. "The message we sent," explained Reyes. "All the evidence of the Emperor's crimes. Some ships are loyal to him. Others hated him. Now they're fighting each other." Ford guided the Nightshade away from the flagship. "Course set for Earth, Admiral." Kat looked back at the massive alien ship growing smaller behind them. "We have 10 minutes before they organize enough to search for us. By then, we'll be gone." "What was that thing you left on the Emperor?" asked Ortiz. "The symbol of Earth," said Kat. "So they remember who did this. So they remember why." The Nightshade accelerated to full speed, disappearing into the darkness of space. Behind them, the hegemony fleet continued to fall into disarray. Without their Emperor, they had no clear leader, no single voice to guide them. "Will they still attack Earth?" asked Clark. "No," said Kat. "They'll be too busy fighting each other to worry about us. By the time they sort it out, Earth will be ready for them." She looked at her team with pride. 7 minutes. That's all it took. The Nightshade raced through space, invisible to the confused hegemony ships. Inside, the crew watched as alien vessels fired upon each other. "The fleet is breaking into at least 3 different groups," said Clark, studying the sensor readings. "The largest ships seem to be fighting each other." Kat nodded. The Emperor kept his fleet commanders suspicious of each other. Now they all think someone else killed him and is trying to take power. Rise looked up from her computer. "The messages we sent are spreading. Look." She pointed to her screen where alien text scrolled rapidly. "They're arguing about who should be the next Emperor. Some are saying they should go home and forget about Earth." "That was the plan," said Kat. She sat in the command chair, finally allowing herself to relax slightly. Confusion is a powerful weapon. Ford guided the ship carefully through the chaos. "We'll reach Earth space in 20 minutes, Admiral. I'm staying in phase shift mode until we're clear of the hegemony ships." "Good," said Kat. "Hayes, prepare the evidence for the Defense Council. They'll want to see what we found." Hayes held up the golden device taken from the Emperor. "This contains his personal records. Rise already translated some of it. The Emperor was planning to destroy Earth no matter what, even if we had surrendered." "I never doubted it," said Kat. "Tyrants always lie." Ortiz cleaned her weapons quietly in the corner. "Do you think they'll come back once they sort out their leadership?" "Eventually," said Kat, "but not for a long time. And when they do, we'll be ready." The ship fell silent as they all considered this. The mission had been successful, But they knew Earth's troubles weren't over. The galaxy was full of dangers. "Why did you become Baba Yaga?" asked Reyes suddenly. "You could have stayed in your lab, working on physics. You didn't have to become this." Kat looked at the young specialist with tired eyes. "After I lost my family, I had a choice. Give in to despair or find a way to protect what was left. I chose to protect. By becoming what others fear," said Hayes. "Yes," said Kat. "The universe respects strength. It respects those who can defend themselves. I wanted Earth to be respected." The nightshade passed the outer reaches of the hegemony fleet. They could see Earth's defense ships in the distance, small points of light against the darkness. "Admiral," said Ford from the pilot's seat, "Earth Defense Command is hailing us. They want to know what happened." "Tell them mission accomplished," said Kat. "The Emperor is dead." "They're asking how we did it," said Ford with a small smile. "Tell them Baba Yaga kept her promise. 7 minutes was all it took." As they approached Earth, they could see the planet's surface through breaks in the clouds. Cities and forests, oceans and mountains. Home. "What will you do now, Admiral?" asked Clark. "If the hegemony is in chaos, they might not need Baba Yaga anymore." Kat looked at him thoughtfully. "There are other threats out there. Other empires. Other tyrants. Earth will always need protection. And you'll always be there to provide it," said Ortiz. "It wasn't a question." "As long as I can," said Kat. The Nightshade docked at the Earth Defense Headquarters. Outside, a crowd had gathered. News of their mission had spread. President Garcia was waiting as they exited the ship. His face showed relief and amazement. "Admiral Winters," he said formally, "on behalf of Earth, I thank you and your crew for your service." Kat nodded. "The threat is neutralized, Mr. President, for now." 7 hours, you said. The President marveled. "And you did it in 7 minutes. Baba Yaga keeps her promises," said Kat. Around them, people began to cheer, not just for the mission's success, but for what it meant. Earth had stood against the greatest power in the galaxy and won. Humanity would not bow to threats or bullies. They would find their own path among the stars. And they had Baba Yaga to guide them. 3 days after the mission, Earth was still celebrating. Every news channel showed the same images. The hegemony fleet breaking apart, ships leaving in different directions, the threat dissolving before their eyes. In a quiet office at Earth Defense Headquarters, Kat sat with President Garcia and the Defense Council. They watched a recording from one of the hegemony ships. The recording had been intercepted by Earth's intelligence systems. On the screen, alien leaders argued with each other in their strange language. Subtitles translated their words. "The Emperor is dead, killed by the human called Baba Yaga. Impossible. No one could reach him through our defenses. Yet she did. And left this." The alien held up the metal star Kat had placed on the Emperor's body. "What does it mean?" "It is the Earth symbol. A warning." President Garcia paused the recording. "You've made quite an impression, Admiral." Kat nodded. "Fear can be useful when dealing with bullies." General Miller, who had doubted Kat's plan at the beginning, now looked at her with respect. "The hegemony fleet has completely withdrawn from our system. 3 of their largest ships were destroyed in their internal fighting." "And the rest?" asked Kat. "Scattered," said Counselor Winters. "Some returned to their homeworlds. Others have broken away completely. The hegemony appears to be falling apart." "Good," said Kat. "An empire built on fear cannot last." President Garcia turned to face Kat directly. "What should we do now, Admiral? You understand these aliens better than anyone." Kat thought for a moment. "We prepare. The hegemony will be busy with internal problems for a while, but they won't forget Earth. And there are other species out there, watching." "You think we'll face more threats?" asked the President. "I know we will," said Kat. "But we'll also find allies. Some of the species breaking away from the hegemony might be willing to talk with us." "Allies among aliens. General Miller looked doubtful. After what they tried to do to us. Not all aliens are the same, said Kat. Just as not all humans are the same. The hegemony forced many species to join them. Some may be grateful we helped free them. The president nodded slowly. I'll have our diplomats prepare messages. We'll reach out carefully. And our defenses? Asked Counselor Winters. We build more ships, said Kat. We improve our technology. We learn from what we found on the Emperor's flagship. Dr. Clark has already begun studying the devices your team brought back, said the president. He says they're years ahead of our science. Not for long, said Kat with a small smile. Humans are good at learning. The meeting ended, and Kat walked alone to the observation deck. Through the large windows, she could see Earth below and stars above. Somewhere out there, the remains of the hegemony were deciding what to do next. Kat heard footsteps behind her. It was her crew. Ford, Ortiz, Clark, Reyes, and Hayes. Admiral, said Ford, we wanted to thank you. The mission was incredible. Thank me. Kat raised an eyebrow. You all did the hard work. You gave us courage, said Reyes. None of us thought we could do it until you showed us how. Ortiz stepped forward. Command has offered us new assignments. Bigger ships, promotions, but we all requested to stay with the Nightshade. With you. Kat looked at her team with surprise. Why? There will be safer missions for all of you. Because the galaxy needs Baba Yaga, said Hayes simply. And Baba Yaga needs us. Kat felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Not just for Earth's survival, but for something more. A future among the stars. A place for humanity in the wider universe. Very well, she said. The Nightshade crew stays together. We have work to do. What's our next mission? Asked Clark. Kat turned back to look at the stars. To show the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated, and that we keep our promises. Behind her, the crew of the Nightshade stood tall and ready. Together, they had changed the course of history in just 7 minutes. 6 months passed. Earth changed in ways no one could have imagined. The Defense Council room was filled with people, both human and alien. 3 representatives from former hegemony worlds sat at the table. A tall, green-skinned Morven, a small blue Xenter with 6 arms, and a floating cloud-like Vashri. They were the first alien delegations to visit Earth officially. Kat stood by the window, watching the proceedings with careful eyes. She wore her admiral's uniform, but everyone still called her Baba Yaga. The trade agreement benefits all our worlds, said the Morven representative. We offer technology. You offer resources and protection. President Garcia nodded. Earth is committed to fair partnerships. We have no desire to build an empire like the hegemony. Yet you destroyed their emperor, said the Xentar, all 6 of its eyes focused on Kat. In 7 minutes. We protected our world, said Kat simply. Nothing more. The Vashri representative pulsed with light as it spoke. The story of Baba Yaga has spread to 32 star systems. Some believe it is just a myth. Let them believe what they wish, said Kat. Stories can be powerful. After the meeting, Kat walked with her crew through the new shipyard built in Earth orbit. 5 new ships were under construction, each one incorporating technology learned from the hegemony. The Nightshade looks small now, said Ford, pointing to their ship docked nearby. Size isn't everything, said Kat. The Nightshade still has advantages. Dr. Clark held up a small device. I've improved the phase shift technology. It uses 30% less power now. We could stay shifted for 15 minutes instead of 10. Good work, said Kat. We'll need every advantage. Do you think the remaining hegemony forces will attack again? Asked Rice. Eventually, said Kat. Their new leader is more cautious, but just as dangerous. They still believe they should rule the galaxy. Hayes pointed to a distant ship approaching the station. Our visitors are here. The ship was unlike any human vessel. It moved with strange grace, its hull shimmering with colors that shouldn't exist in space. The Ashanti, said Kat. from beyond hegemony space. They'd been watching us for years. Are they friends or enemies? Asked Ortiz, her hand moving instinctively toward her weapon. Neither yet, said Kat. They want to know if humans can be trusted with advanced technology, if we're worthy of joining the wider galactic community. The crew watched as the alien ship docked. This meeting would shape humanity's future in ways they couldn't imagine. Whatever happens, said Kat, we're ready. Earth will never bow to threats again. That evening, Kat stood alone in her quarters, looking at an old photograph. A man and a small girl smiled back at her. John and Lucy, her family, gone but never forgotten. We've come so far, she whispered to them. Humans are building ships that can travel to other stars. We're making alliances with alien species, and others fear us enough to leave us in peace. There was a knock at her door. Major Ortiz entered with an urgent message. Admiral, we've detected hegemony ships near the outer colonies. They're testing our defenses. Kat put the photograph away. Prepare the nightshade. We leave in 30 minutes. The Defense Council wants to send a fleet, said Ortiz. 3 of the new battleships. Kat shook her head. Too much. We don't need to start a war. We just need to remind them who we are. You think the Baba Yaga is enough? Asked Ortiz with a small smile. 7 minutes was enough before, said Kat. It will be enough again. As she walked to the nightshade, Kat thought about how quickly things had changed. 6 months ago, humanity had been alone and afraid. Now they stood tall among the stars, respected by some, feared by others, but never again dismissed as weak. The story of Baba Yaga had become the story of humanity itself, underestimated, threatened, but ultimately triumphant. And like all good stories, it was just beginning.